Our next guest, we've enjoyed offline, is Michelle O'Brien from Mackie, Shea, O'Brien.
Yes. Good.
Right?
Yes.
Good.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Why don't you tell us about Mackie, Shea, O'Brien and what your specialty of your practice is?
Sure. Mackie, Shea, O'Brien is a boutique firm. We concentrate our practice in environmental, land use, and renewable energy law and related litigation. The firm has been around for 30 years now in a couple of different iterations. We're located in the Back Bay in Boston. I've been with the firm for 15 years. We concentrate in, as I said, in environmental and land use and renewable energy law, which means we help people with things like environmental and land use permitting for various kinds of development. We help folks with maintaining compliance with environmental laws, and there are many in Massachusetts and elsewhere. We work with folks on real estate transactions, oftentimes involving contaminated properties. And we do enforcement defense. My primary practice is in litigation, environmental litigation, although I do a lot of work in the other areas as well. But as I mentioned, Massachusetts is pretty highly regulated in the environmental and land use area. We have federal, state, local laws that govern various kinds of projects, so it can be a challenging environment to work in for business and industry, and we've been helping people get through those processes for a very long time.
Excellent. Now, Michelle, you have talk about tiptoeing through the tulips of the regulations. You were an assistant attorney general, correct?
I
Specializing in environmental issues.
That's right, Mark. I spent about 7 years in the Attorney General's office some time ago, initially in the Environmental Protection Division, where I actually brought environmental enforcement cases and litigated them on behalf of the Commonwealth, and also spent some time in the trial division at the AG's office. So I was doing civil litigation, not only of environmental cases, but others. So it's a terrific background for where I am today,
Right.
and I sort of marry, if you will, the environmental experience and the litigation experience that I've had, and now enjoy working with folks in the private sector to do that work.
You've done litigation in an area that I find interesting, contaminated properties.
Yes.
Just the whole topic just irritates me just when I think about it, that this just even goes on. Can you talk to us a little bit about this?
Sure. Well, it comes as no surprise. I'm sure that, 30, 40, 50 years ago, people weren't really thinking about environmental issues the way they do today. I actually am working with a company whose predecessor company was an owner for a handful of years at a site down in southeastern Massachusetts that was used for munitions manufacturing, and they used lead and mercury, and it actually was primarily government contracts during World War II. And not surprisingly, there's some lead and mercury contamination in the ground, in the soil, and in the sediment in the river system there. Someone has to clean it up, and
And you know what's interesting? What makes it, especially you represent a lot of developers, correct?
true,
And
right?
and because of your background and all these issues, it sounds like you're able to sort of navigate the issues, so they can develop this property and they
Right.
can overcome these hazardous waste issues.
That is true, and I think the stigma that was associated with contaminated properties when the environmental laws requiring cleanups, first came into play has lessened a bit. Banks are more apt to lend on contaminated properties if they can have a good sense of what the risks are, what it takes to clean them up, and so forth.